Hey D&D fam, I'm Quick.
And I'm Lee, and you're listening to
Divas and Ducats. So what is a diva? I think divas get a bad rep, but to me, diva is all about the attitude.
As for ducats, it's your finances, your assets, Skrilla, guap, your coin. We're talking all things with the potential to affect your pockets.
And while we're attorneys by trade, we are divas by choice. Divas and Ducats is for edutainment purposes.
Y'all, we are not Series 511 or 703 professionals. This does not create a financial advisor or attorney-client relationship. The views expressed here are solely our opinions and the opinions of our guests.
It's just our opinions, y'all. Okay, divas, let's talk Ducats.
All right. Hey, D&D fam. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. If you are watching, make sure you hit subscribe below so that you know when a new episode is out. And for those of you who are following us auditorially, we will be...
Look at you auditorially.
Sometimes you got to let them know. Hot Girl Summer is in full effect, and we are making some moves. Divas and Ducats will be... What we got?
What we got?
We are Money Talk, y'all, a radio show station in Virginia. We're featured the third Thursday in June, July, and August. So that is June 17th, July 15th, and August 19th. So those latter two dates you can still hit if you haven't heard us already. But it's Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. on WGH 1310 AM. If you're not in Virginia, you can go to moneytalk1310.com and hear us.
Oh, we did it, Joe.
We on the radio. So, welcome back. What do we have on the docket today?
Today we're going to be talking about one of those things, these multiple streams of income, real estate investing.
Yes.
I am so excited
topic
about this topic. And you know, if you watch and tune in, that me and Lee do not believe in tackling subjects we do not know about. We bring in those professionals, and today we are not making an exception to that rule. So we have Kimberly Evan here.
Right.
Say hey to the people, Kim.
Hello, everyone. How's it going?
It is going good. So Kim hails from Little Rock, Arkansas. She attended Benedict College, the University of South Carolina, and received her government degree from Clemson University. Okay. And from a young age, Kim discovered that her success depended primarily on her ability to make something work. Kimberly serves as a business coach who helps aspiring entrepreneurs get a substantial head start. She also hosts the Kimberly Ladores podcast, which sheds light on the rising issues and concerns of real estate investing and investing as a whole. Her passion to succeed and help others made her a success when she served on the South Carolina State Realtors Board for 4 years, advocating for more community housing programs in the state of South Carolina. She has received various community service awards and as an entrepreneur wears many hats. She is the proud owner of KB Global Solutions, LLC, Real Estate Services for 13 years. She's a licensed real estate broker for almost 20 years and has been investing in real estate for 7 years. She also owns Rehoboth Investment, LLC, and AK Capital Incorporated.
Easy.
Okay. Kim's desire is to leave a legacy others can remember. She currently resides in Atlanta, Georgia, where she is serving her 12th term as the only African-American publicly elected councilwoman in the city. Thank you, Kim, for joining.
I would think there would be more.
You said what?
In Atlanta, I would think there would be more.
Right. Talk about it. She up there.
Well, I can correct it. That was South Carolina.
Okay. This is like it made more sense, right?
In Atlanta, there's a plethora.
Right. So I'm sorry. So that is in South Carolina, where she is the elected councilwoman.
Gotcha.
Right.
It was like years there. Yep.
Well, congratulations on that and being reelected time after time again. I know that has to be tiring. Yeah.
Stressful.
Yes, right. On top of all the other things, you just keep piling it on, So that's what success looks like. Yes, that's what legacy and success look like. So we are here to bring you in to talk about real estate investing. And we like to start off the question with all of our guests, as you're a councilwoman and you're in politics and had an undergrad degree or a master's degree in government, how did you get into real estate?
Actually, real estate surprisingly started in 1985.
Okay.
So my mom and dad were looking for a house. We were moving from Little Rock, Arkansas to South Carolina. And they were looking for a house there. I was a young girl, of course. And back then we had books that had pictures of the houses in it and the description under the bottom. And you flip through the books. Well, if you know my mom, she could care less about looking in those books. So I took the book from them and I was like, I'll find some. So I found like 4 houses, literally as a kid, in the book. And we went and saw 2 of them.
Oh, that's really cool.
Of course, as most people, they don't listen to their realtors. They didn't buy either one of the houses that I chose, but that's where my love started. And so we met with Mr. Joe. He was a Century 21 broker at the time, and we would go to his office. So back then you had to find your book, then you make an appointment with the realtor, go to their office. So we did like 4 or 5 appointments at his office, and I would show him the pictures that I found of the houses. And he was like, "You did good. You looked up good. You found my pictures." So that's really where it started. And then as I grew into adult, my pastor's wife got me a job at the credit union. I was 16 years old. She thought I was older, but I was 16. I only went to school half day at that time, but she got me a job at the credit union. And so I just got interested in the mortgage side of it. So that just grew it even more from there. And it just blossomed. As time goes, I kept with it. I've always had a financial mind, entrepreneurship brain. So it just kept going from that point on until we're here today. Right. So that's really how I got started. So.
That is really, really cool. I like the fact that your parents even trusted you to go look at least 2 of the houses, right?
Yeah, did. Well, after Mr. Joe said that
they told you, like, she did a good job.
They had to get some validation.
She was like, "Oh yeah, these might work for you. These might work for you." So,
So just want to get into a little, and feel free to get into it as much as you want. I think people, especially now, like it's a sexy thing to talk about flipping, but there's so many ways you can get into real estate investing, right? Like some people rent homes or some people maybe do some refinancing and that funds the next thing. So what are some of the varying ways that people can get involved or the different ways people can invest in real estate?
There are so many ways. You can do mobile home investing. You can do the Airbnb side of investing. You can do tax liens. You can do foreclosures. You can do the retail market, flip and fixing, which is, of course, a popular one because of all of the TV shows.
Yeah.
You have your single homes. You have your condos, your duplexes, your multi living quarters where you can go 4 or less. You can do your apartment complexes. I mean, it goes so far. There are so many more. I mean, you could do probate court. That's an investing revenue stream for it. Did I say Airbnb, flipping, rental properties? Yeah, you name it. Hotels. I mean, all of that. So you can get and go into any of those different avenues to venture, to start an investing career. You really have to decide first which way you want to go. What is your end goal? What are you looking for at the end of it? When I started, I wanted, honestly, to make more money.
Right.
So I wanted to start building my nest egg. So then as you start and you get into it, then you decide, okay, how do I really want this to be structured where I'm not going to be here forever? I want some baby. I want my nieces to be able to come in, pick this up, and, move with it and work with it. So then you start adjusting, to your goals, to your end goal. But initially starting out, you just want to know, where do you want to be? Where do you want to be with the goal? But there's so many different avenues that you can go in when it comes to investing in real estate.
Gotcha.
And this is going to be a complete segue from the questions that we had asked. Well, you said probate. I was like, how do you invest in probate?
Yeah, so you have, and I don't want to sound morbid, but of course, someone has to pass in order for it to be probate. So when the person passed, 9 times out of 10, if I'm looking at a property that I find that's a probate case, first thing is pull up the county records, go in there and see where it's at on the county, find out who the executor is of that estate, and call them. You try maybe not to call them the day after the person passes,
right?
But or the first couple of days. But you have to be on it, because especially if you're in a big metropolitan area, there's somebody else that's on it, and they will call them the same day.
Wow.
So that's the first thing you're going to do is contact them. Say, hey, what plans do you have with this property? Does it have to go through probate? Are you familiar with probate? If you know the steps to a probate case for your state, you can be the best friend to that executor. And that's the number one thing, is that they hate having to deal with the court system, having to deal with the people in the office in the court system. Sometimes those are the meanest people. But they're doing their job and they have to work with the public, but it's still a good asset to have a back pocket, get an attorney. Well, in your cases, y'all won't have to have an attorney. Get an attorney in your pocket. One, you can call up. I mean, I literally have a Rolodex on my phone where I've just contacted them. Hey, what do you do? What do you do? What type of cases do you handle? What can I contact you for if I come across this property? I have a good attorney in South Carolina, and I can call him on everything. I literally told him to get licensed for Georgia. Because I wanted to be able to use him,
right?
In other states, but it's not hard. You just contact them, find out who they passed, if they have plans on selling the property, or is someone going to keep it. I love looking up absentee owner probate cases, because the owner is in a different state and they passed. And I probably guarantee you none of their children want that property. And the other thing is, a lot of people don't set their stuff up properly for when they pass.
Right.
So when they do pass, and the house has to go through this long chain of stuff before they can even do anything with it, where it sits for 2 to 3 years, and they'll be like, yeah, give me $20,000. I'll take it. You just deal with it. Let me know when I need to sign papers. And that has literally happened.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good stream. I wouldn't tell newbies to start off
right.
If they're not trying to tackle, learning all of that. But it's very, very lucrative.
And you mentioned newbies, because I wanted to circle back to that, because you mentioned a plethora of options for real estate investing. And so for someone who is newer to the game, what maybe 2 or 3 do you think would be not easy, because you're still going to have to do research, but what 2 or 3 do you think are more manageable for someone just getting started?
Okay, I'm going to give you the sauce now, okay? So grab your pens, grab your paper, because this is the good stuff. So if you're new and you're looking to get started in investing, from my standpoint, in my opinion, I would say start with driving for dollars, which I didn't even mention that one. So driving for dollars is where you actually get in your car in your backyard and drive around your neighborhood. Drive around maybe a 10, 15 mile radius. That may be too far depending on where you live. And the only thing you're going to do is write down addresses of houses that are vacant, houses that look vacant, houses that have high grass, houses that have the blue tarps on the roofs, look like they're falling down or no one is taking care of it. Houses where there's old cars parked in the driveway, but you can tell that those cars haven't moved in years and they're in the primary spot of the driveway. That's probably a deceased person laying inside of the house or something along those lines. It's happened too. But you just want to write down the address of them, and then you can come back to your home, your office, wherever, and go to the county records, look up and see who owns that house. And then you find out the name of the person that owns it. You'll find out if they're absentee owner. Absentee owner just means that they don't live in that state. Okay. So they bought a house in Georgia, but they live in New York. They bought a house in Georgia, they live in California. So they still have the home here. They may have rented it out at some time. They may have lived there, got married, decided to move, just left the house vacant. Any of those things can be options, but you want to contact the owner and simply ask them, are you interested in selling your home?
Mm-hmm.
Are you interested? What are your plans with this home?
Right.
What are you looking to do? I'll tell you, my question is, are you interested in selling your home?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm at that point where I'm ready to make you a cash offer.
Right.
So that your case, if you're not there, a cash offer. What are your plans to do with this home? I just drove past this house and I noticed it was vacant. Is it vacant or are you renting it out? Ask them. Usually no one cusses you out or anything like that when you ask general questions like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll give you, the information and you start from there. And that starts your dialogue from there. But literally drive around till you have a list of 20 to 30 homes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll guarantee you will be able to start some type of deal or some type of pipeline out of those lists of homes that would allow you to start your real estate investing business. So that would be my first one for newbies. That's my number one, top of the list.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of services that allow you to skip trace those phone numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So the county is not going to give you the phone number to them, but you can go to like REI Skip and set up a service there, and that's reiskip.com.
Mm-hmm.
You can set up a service there. It's 15 cents to skip trace the phone number. So you can skip trace the phone number. It usually gives you some of the aunts, uncles, cousins, maybe, any other people.
Right.
It'll usually give you a few numbers that are attached to that owner's name.
Okay.
So you can look at them there. The second way would be if your credit and all is great, utilize your credit. Buy a duplex apartment. Live in one side, rent out the other.
Mm-hmm.
Or stay home living with mom and dad, buy a duplex, rent both sides out.
Mm-hmm.
That allow you to start building capital on your property. If you're able to get a probate case house or anything along those lines, you can rehab it, rent it out, and make a substantial income that way. It's amazing. And once you do it once or twice, you're going to want to keep doing it once or twice. So those are the ones. To give an extra one would be REITs. So that's real estate investment trust. That's where you're actually investing with a group or a pool of people. I think that one's a good one, but there's caveats to that one too. You just want to make sure you're doing your research as far as who you're investing with. And, guard your investment. It is an investment, so you still want to, manage your risk on it.
Yeah.
So I do have a question about the REITs. Like, is it, because I'm thinking about Robinhood, right? And there are REITs that you can go in there and invest in. So is that different from a group of people getting together as an investment group and investing in real estate, or is it the same thing?
It's the same thing. One is public and one is private.
Okay.
So when you're doing it through Robinhood, you're looking at your public ones, and those are ones that are on your stock market trades, that you invest in as a market-wise.
Okay.
But there's still REITs, real estate investment trusts. They're the same thing. Your returns are a little more manageable there, and you kind of control what you get on those. For the private ones, it's usually groups. I call them social REITs. That's what we've always called them in the office, the social REITs, because it's usually going to be like you or I starting it, and we go and get 50 of our friends to come into it, or 50 investors, or we'll go out to those websites where you can post them out there and get people to come in to invest into those companies. So that's usually going to be the way that those are managed for that, but they're the same thing. Same thing. And the only thing a REIT is where they go find properties. They may say, we always call them funds. So it's fund investment. You saw I have two different companies. One of those is a fund investment, but mine's private. We just do it for my own protection. So I put any of the investment properties that we purchase, we put them inside of that fund, and those are managed under that fund. And then you have your other account, which kind of spearheads as the funding for those other.
Got you. So for the situations where people go in a group, because you mentioned you want to guard your money and make sure that you're, being diligent about that. What are some points or perhaps terms people should be thinking about if they're thinking about going into a group situation?
Well, you're going to want to look at what their terms are. They can vary because it's private. So it's not a stipulation as far as whatever the SEC is going to allow them to do. Governing on that funding. So they can go way out there. Some of them, we always did ours on 5-year terms, and that allowed us time to purchase the property, rent it out for 5 years. We evict the tenants, about three months before that term is up, which allows us time to go and fix it back up and put it on the market to sell.
Gotcha.
We price them so that we know that they would sell within that 3-month time frame. So we give ourselves 90 days to get the home sold on the market. And we've made our money for that 5 years. So
right.
we did not rent them for cheap. If our mortgage was $700, 9 times out of 10, we rented it out for $1,500, $1,600 a month. So we made our money, initially on the front end of it. So when it comes time to sell it, that's when the investors would get their dividends. Most of the time we do the K1s each year, and they would get a dividend cut from what we got out of there. But we as investors would be on that cut as well.
Okay.
The terms on there are favorable to the owners. That's just the way it is. It's a business, so they're going to be more favorable to the owners. The investors are definitely going to be able to get their cuts, and it's going to be favorable to them too, but not to the stance of what the owners are going to get. So a lot of them, research who the owners are
right.
of those funds. Research where the money that comes in, where does it go? Why are we paying $17,000 electric bill each month? Because they usually publicize all of that information. Why is there a bill an invoice for 20 houses when you told me there's only 10 that are in this fund?
Right.
So why are we paying mortgages for 20 properties? Stuff like that. They give you the details of the funds when you do the interest meetings or anything like that. Look them through, find them out. If you're not familiar with it, ask questions. Ask questions. Hey, I don't know what I'm looking at. You all invited me here. Please explain to me what this is and allow me an opportunity to go back and research this. A lot of them will do at their interest meeting, hey, you have to sign up today. This deal is only good today.
Right.
And if you get that, then it's not something that you probably want to invest in. Because they would give you a time, to allow, unless you miss like 20 interest meetings, there's usually, a substantial amount of time before they close the fund to any new people.
Yeah.
But you definitely want to ask those questions.
And for those who aren't familiar, you mentioned, what is a K1?
K1 is like during the tax time. You get your K1 statement, and it just identifies how much of dividend from that particular fund you received.
Okay.
So it's a tax document that the interest group or the fund group will give you.
Okay.
And so, when you're talking about it, like, of course, I'm thinking like contracts. If this interest group doesn't have those documentation, is that a sign to run?
Oh yeah, run really fast. Yeah. Run really fast, because they are, depending on the amount of money that they do, they are regulated by the SEC. Now, there can be some that don't have to be regulated, and they do lower amounts on theirs, and they don't do maybe as many properties in it. And I'm not saying don't get with those, because you got to start somewhere. And sometimes when you get in on those companies at the ground level, you're able to, win big on there. But I'm just saying, be careful. Be careful when you get into the RETs. I don't do RETs. Rephrase. I have not done a RET. I'll never say that I won't do one, because I think they do, they hold their weight as far as the investment is. But I would just be leery. It seems like every time I get ready to get in one, I hear something or, something else about something or somebody. So I get a little leery there. So I'd rather play the stock market.
Got you. And so one of the biggest things that are roadblocks for people in terms of getting involved is funding. So when people are thinking about, how do I get started? I want to do this, and I, maybe they have a home and want a rental income or what have you. Like, what is your advice for where people can get that funding or how they can get started?
My first thing would say to that is your mindset. You have to go in it with a mindset that you can do it, you can find it. This is what you're supposed to do. This is your God-given desire, dream focus to get it done. And I say that because you can talk yourself out of many, many, many blessings. You come in contact with people and you're standing in front of somebody, you don't know that they have money, but they have the money that you need. And I say that from my own personal experience. But there's hard money lenders out there that are reputable company. My very first property I did with a hard money lender. And they gave me the money. I took the training. I took a program through them. And I'm not going to say I wouldn't advise them. They have higher interest rates, but I knew what I was doing. I was doing it for 6 years for someone else, and I was taking them checks for $120,000 while I was getting a $20,000 check. And my sister would tell me every single time, Kimberly, why are you doing this for them? You keep doing this. I mean, he would not see anything, literally numbers over the phone. Hey, such and such, I found this house. It's over here. It's not on a railroad track. It's not near school. It's not on the backside of school. You know, all of his criteria it would meet. Right. He's like, how much is it? And I would have his checkbook, literally have his checkbook, have authorization to sign for it. And he'd be like, buy it. And then he called me back, go ahead in it and design it, rehab it and fix it up. I mean, I did everything. The man never saw the property. Never saw the property.
Wow.
And my sister was like, you keep doing this. You can be doing this for yourself. But I would literally go sell the house, get him $126,000, and he paid me my little $20,000. I'm like, really? I need to go and do this. But you have to. I didn't think I could do it. Right. Honestly, I did not think I could do it to that extent. I'm like, okay, this might be my limit. You know, here I might need to be comfortable right here. But literally, God put me in contact with this man, and I didn't know he had money. He just saw what I was doing. He saw a house that I was designing 2 houses down from him. He saw that I came there every day. He saw me fussing with contractors every day, and he came to me. He said, "I want you to invest some of my money." And I'm like, really? Okay. What do you want me to do with your money? He's like, no, I want you to do the same thing you're doing with your houses. He didn't know they wasn't my houses. He just thought I was coming there every day. Right. I was like, okay, you know, we'll talk about it. And I honestly shunned it. We'll talk about it. But when we met and talked, he was like, how about I just give you the money? You go and do it, and then you just pay me interest on it. I mean, it literally changed from him wanting me to do it for him to him giving me the money to invest. And I've been riding that wave ever since with him. But it is, that's really how it started. But you can go to hard money lenders.
Is that like a bank, are you saying? Or okay.
Well, they're private owned institutions. Sometimes hard money lenders can be a private owned person. Okay. A person, they can get money from their 401k. Their IRA, not 401k. IRA investing is huge right now. So they pull the money out of their IRA and they can invest those into real estate without paying the fees on the side of doing the withdrawal from the IRA. So that's a huge one. A lot of people do that, but it's really letting people know what you do, talking, letting people know what you're doing, what you're looking for, saying it. There's so many websites. There's so many Facebook groups. Again, if you go out to any of those, just make sure you are diligent in researching who you are getting with. Find out, some other people that they've done funding with. Find other companies that they've done funding with, or other people that they've funded, for. But the biggest thing, as a man thinketh, so is he. He has to have it in his head that he can do it. I can find it. Today is my day. I'm going to touch 10 people and find out what they're going to do. What are they doing? What are their goals? What are their dreams? And you might not get anybody out of those 10 people, but you did it. You did it 10 people. And so you keep doing that and be consistent. I have a phone. Well, it's on the back of the desk there. And it's not plugged in, but I just use it as a reminder. You need to be on this phone. You need to be making connections. You need to be talking to people. And I'm not like the most bubbly person when it comes to stuff like that. So I have to remind myself on a consistent basis, and they might have to do the same, but you can. And I know if I need to find somebody, I can get on the phone and call. So you have to go on the phone and call. But looking for companies, doing traditional mortgages, find some lenders, regular lenders, just talk to regular broker companies. And some of them are called mortgage brokers. Some of them are called lender. Brokers have a little more access to people. Some of them have private lenders in their pool of clients that they use. Find a couple of mortgage brokers. I have some, like I said, on speed dial that I'm able to contact. Hey, who do you know that I can get $70,000 from? Tomorrow I found a property. I need to get it fixed. It'll take me 7 weeks to get it done. Who do you know where I can get that funding from? And so you call them, and they might say, hey, Kim, we've done deals before. I've seen you do these deals, before. Start surrounding yourself around those type of people that do that. The real estate associations, that's a huge place to go to get funding. I said the real estate association, no. The real estate investment clubs. Okay. Real estate investment clubs.
The association will be like, nah, you don't come here.
Yeah. Or they will tell you that in a minute. Are you a realtor? Yeah, not for you. But the real estate investment clubs, and usually every city has one or two little clubs. They may be small little meetup groups or something along those lines, but they'll have something there that you can go and start getting access to and meeting people that would allow you to do that.
And you were mentioning if you have good credit or better credit, you could leverage your credit. How would you do that?
Yeah, you can leverage your credit by buying a property. Using that, some properties you can buy them, put a little money into it, get it reappraised on it, and take that equity out on there. Or if you're already living in a property and you've been in it for maybe 2 to 3 years, well, right now you've been in it about 3 or 4 years, then you can maybe use your equity, get a home equity line of credit on that, where you're able to pull that extra money out to do an investment into a property. Now, if you have some cash saved up, don't have great credit, they have asset bank loans. Okay. So your loan is based off of the value of the asset that you have. So I have 2 free and clear properties. So if I need to get a funding, I can take those properties, go to the bank and say, hey, I have these 2 houses over here. I want to get a loan on those. And so they would take that money, put a loan on that house, and give me the cash. So I can take that cash and then go put it into another property. So then you can keep the cycle, going. Again, just make sure you pay off that first one, right. And then just keep going. If not, they'll be picking up your house.
Yeah. It just gives me such pause. I know that that's kind of the process, because I've even thought about, I have taken out a HELOC, but it just sits there. Because I'm just like, if I use it, then I'm making payments on my house again. They can take my house away, and I don't know. It's just so nerve-wracking.
I think it's the psychology behind debt. For some people, it does something psychologically to say they're debt free. But a lot of times with people with real estate, you do have debt. I mean, it's debt that's paying you, but it is debt. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think some of it is getting in that position, because I think people have similar feelings when you buy your first home. It's like, oh my God, if somebody could take my house if I lost my job. But it's like, you paid rent. It's the same thing. It's yours. So I think it's definitely a psychology behind it.
It definitely is. I did the Dave Ramsey. I teach the Dave Ramsey thing. So I'm one of those people. When I pay the card off, I'm like, heck no, we are done with that card. There's nothing else we need to get on that card. I do stock market, and they're like, use the money off your card, and I'm like, it makes sense, but no, that don't make sense.
Right.
So, yeah. I am definitely one of those people like, yeah, no, I don't think
and I definitely get it with certain things, like things that don't appreciate, right? So for me, you cannot convince me to get a new car. I'm not. I'm riding her to about 400,000 miles if I can. I can't. It doesn't make sense to me. But, to the same thought, I'm like, somebody won't give me how much? I might have to go in and do something. So, and one of the things I learned, like you were saying, with the refinancing, and especially now with the rates being so low, you have the conventional loan versus the FHA. And one of the things that I didn't know is that when you refinance, if you I guess if you did it under an FHA, which is, I think you don't have to put as much money down. When you refinance, that FHA is now available again. And so I just wanted you as the expert to kind of break down like what is like a conventional versus a FHA and some of those advantages.
Okay, so on your FHA loan, that's going to be a 3.5% down payment on your house. If you buy a house for $100,000, you're going to pay 3.5% down, and that has to be cash paid at time of closing. Your conventional loan is usually going to be your 20% down, but on the conventional, you don't have what they call PMI, so property mortgage insurance. You don't have that, which is huge. Sometimes that can be a 20% difference in your monthly mortgage payment. So that can be huge if you're paying, a monthly mortgage. But that 20%, you'll pay that until you have paid down your mortgage enough. And that's usually about a 20% level before they will allow you to have the PMI removed. Some companies, mortgage companies, they'll make you refinance the house to have it removed. Some of them will just make it fall off of your loan. So that's a question you definitely want to ask your lender or mortgage broker at the time you're doing that mortgage. But if you can get in with an FHA, my first house was an FHA loan. I had to do 3.5% down. And I was not selling for any house that the seller did not pay my closing. So went to a house, I made a deal. They said, no, they're not paying my closing. I said, okay, then we're going to go find another house.
Right.
So, and you have to have that mindset. You can't fall in love with the asset, without having the mindset that you still need to cover your pocket when you're doing an investment. So can't be like, oh my God, this is a beautiful house. I love it. You're not going to live there. You're buying this for an investment, Go on. Just go on with it. My sister tells me all the time when I decorate them, she's like, you're decorating this like you're going to live here. I'm like, no, but someone like me is going to be living here. I'm telling you.
It's going to be cute.
Yeah, it has to be cute. But I do spend a little bit extra money, in decorating and stuff like that. And we do our Airbnbs. You want to decorate those nice. They're going to be coming in and then they're going to come back and come back and come back again. So when you're doing them, you want that loan to be, leveraged properly so that you're able to move to the next property. If you're looking at it from an investment standpoint. If you're looking at it to live in, then you may have a little more flexibility in those numbers that you're looking at. Even with my clients, my seller clients, buyers or sellers, I'm like, no, we're going to find something that the seller is going to pay, or we're going to figure it out to negotiate it around. But you just want to be mindful of those two programs there. And find out what else your state offers. A lot of states offer a lot of programs for funding on buying properties. It doesn't matter if you're doing it as an investment property, still find out what they offer. Because sometimes you can finagle those programs, and I'm not saying anything illegal. You can finagle those programs to fit and benefit you. Some of the programs you have to spend a night in the house.
Right.
Atlanta has all kinds of programs here. It's like every single organization has a housing program. So some of them are private, some of them are public, some government, so you just find out what's there. You can find those out usually by your local realtors, or again, the associations. Check with your county office, as to what other funding programs are available. Those are the two main public ones, the FHA and the conventional loans, but there's tons of other ones out.
Yeah.
And so when you were talking about like Airbnb and like decorating and making sure that your loan is sufficient, I guess, to maybe cover the furniture and the fixtures and everything that you have to do to flip those, I started hearing contractors, right? Because I don't know how to, I know how to tear down a wall, but a lot of people don't know how to tear down walls and put in windows and replace floors and stuff. So then you start getting into contractors. So my question is twofold. One, for the first time investor, do you recommend getting that house that you have to gut? And do you recommend getting a house that, they might hear, Airbnb near the beach.
Right.
Let me go gut that. but you don't have the contractors in place, right? Because you've been in this business long enough that you've built relationships.
Right.
So for a person that's starting to look for the contractors, the construction workers, like, what are your recommendations for that?
Right.
Do not break down the walls. Do a cosmetic flip, do a cosmetic rehab, do a cosmetic Airbnb, do a cosmetic. For one, I probably have contractor stories that would be a whole nother podcast. But dealing with contractors is not easy. Mm-hmm. They are 9 times out of 10 independent contractors for the average fixer flipper real estate investor. Mm-hmm. Once you get to another level, then you're able to, get those companies that come in and you just assign all your properties to that company. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, you're going to have, here and there, John, Paul, Ruth, SA and all those. Right. So you have to have a contract for your contractor, for one, and you're going to have to be on their tail.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You're going to have to have some backbone to you where you don't mind talking and standing up for your property. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes they'll come in there. I pulled into the yard and I see 6 guys smoking cigarettes. Mm-hmm. Am I paying for y'all to smoke cigarettes?
Okay.
I don't think so. So there's a wall that needs to be painted. Mm-hmm. There's a floor that needs to be scrubbed. There's a fireplace that needs to be redone. I'm here. Let's get to work. Mm-hmm. So you have to be able to have some behind your stuff when it comes there. I don't want to say I sometimes go straight off. And then they're like, oh, okay.
Right.
And I'm like, I promise you won't get your check until this is done. So, and then sometimes depending on what type of loan you have to have a different relationship with your contractors because they're not getting paid until the bank approves their work. And if the bank doesn't approve it, that draw is not coming out. And I ask contractors at the beginning, if I know I have that type of loan, hey, are you willing to work with banks on draws?
Right.
And they'll kind of give you an idea too of their work ethics.
Right.
Usually they know if that bank has to come out here and approve this job, you're going to have those straight corners. You're going to have nice painted lines. You're going to have the nails tucked in the right place. You're going to have the doorknobs put on properly because the bank will come in. That inspector will come in and say, no, this door needs to be redone. The jambs on the door are off. The trim is off. This floor here is buckling over here. What's wrong with that subfloor over there? That nail is coming out on the side. Sometimes they nitpick like that. Mm-hmm. So it depends on, sometimes what type of loan you have. But contractors are a handful. Some of them, I've probably ran some away and some of them just didn't show up anymore. I've collected tools. You're going to leave my site. Well, you know what? Anyway.
Collect the waltz up in here.
This is on YouTube. I'm going to wait. But there is, sometimes you have to, stand up for your properties.
Right.
Too.
Yeah.
And be assertive when it comes to, to your investment. Again, it's an investment.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm. You're paying a bill on that mortgage.
Right.
While they're sitting there smoking cigarettes or drinking a drink or, you got to give them lunch, but eating a pizza at 4:00 in the afternoon. Really? No.
Okay. And it's all supposed to be sage and you sitting here. Okay.
Yeah. And I will. I will bring my laptop and irk the heck out of them. I got Wi-Fi and I can sit right here on this floor and do my work.
And supervise.
So, I've got time.
I'm going to do mine.
Yeah, she does. So one of the things it just brought me to when you were saying like cosmetic, especially for beginners, one of the things like, if you already have a home, people can Airbnb, right? Mm-hmm. So I know like if that's your home, one of the things that's kind of giving me pause is like, okay, well, it's one thing when the people Airbnb, they don't live there. But when you live there and somebody's coming in your space, what are some of the things people can maybe do to kind of like safeguard and still... I have this one property and I'm not there yet because we're speaking into existence, right? But for now, I'm Airbnb and where I live. What are some of the things people can do or, keep that?
Yeah, I think you have to have that personality, to do that. I don't have that personality. But few things you can do. If you're remodeling it, you can make it where there's a separate access A lot of people have done that, especially if they have basements.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll turn their downstairs into their Airbnb portion
Mm-hmm.
and create an access door where the person can come from outside.
Mm-hmm.
So I've actually stayed at one like that, where you come from around the side of the house and then there's an access door at the back
Mm-hmm.
where the basement is yours. So there's a kitchen, bathroom, 2 bedrooms,
Right.
in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have an actual outside door that's exiting up the stairs to the house.
Right.
But it's an actual door where they can't get into that door as well. It's just like, a exterior door. That's
Gotcha.
something
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
that's blocking for the basement. So that's one thing. When it comes to that, that would be the only thing that I can think of, because that would not be anything I would ever do. So, I just don't see it. I know people don't mind it.
Some
Yeah.
people
But
do that. What does it
I
say
don't-
on there, like shared space or something? It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the one time we stayed at a house that was owned, it was still, I always get them that they're, I have the whole house
Mm-hmm.
to myself, but it was just that basement part
Yeah.
that was accessible to it, and the people lived upstairs,
Mm.
but they wasn't at home at that day. That
Gotcha.
weekend that we were there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the biggest thing there. Any Airbnbs that we do would be completely accessible, entire house
Yeah.
accessible
Gotcha.
thing there. But I have seen them. We actually did a project in Lake Hartwell in South Carolina where we built a 3-tier high-rise,
Mm-hmm.
and we Airbnb the 4 corners were all 3-bedroom
Mm-hmm.
access units, but all of them could be cut off. So you can either, put in, you can call downstairs and tell them you want to rent 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, or 3-bedroom, and we could change that 1 unit to any of those. So either
Oh,
1
wow.
bedroom, 2 or 3 bedrooms. But you just have to lay it out, design the floor plan
Mm-hmm.
to be like that.
That
Yeah,
sounds
it's right on
cool.
Lake Hartwell. Beautiful.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
amazing. I didn't build it. I was just over the project, so it wasn't mine. Not yet. Let me rephrase that. It's
Right.
not my
Power of
I'm
yet.
gonna do that. I'm gonna do that.
Mm-hmm. So what ways have you seen COVID impacting the real estate market?
Definitely impacted it. For me personally, we haven't done a transaction in 4 or 5 months. Once I got sick, so I was like, yeah, we're good. I'm going to, lay low
Yeah.
for a little bit. It's a seller's market for sure. The biggest impact is getting the properties sold for the amount that you want, getting the properties purchased for the amount that you want.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, the prices are elevated, ridiculously.
Ridiculously.
Bad.
Yeah, it's doesn't make sense.
Net worth looking real nice right now.
If people knew anything about the real estate market, just like the stock market, it is going to correct itself.
Right.
So it's coming back down. So in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
and I know this is not everyone else's opinion, I would not be buying a bunch of properties right now unless it's a direct sale. So if I could go to the owner
Mm-hmm.
and make a deal directly with the owner, then I would be doing something. We don't usually buy houses off the market anyway. Most of ours are direct owner sales. I love making a deal, creating a deal. I think that's the high for me, is actually getting a deal created. So
Yeah.
if I can negotiate with them or figure out a way to get this house dirt cheap, I am like in hog heaven. So that's like, the exciting part for me. But I think COVID has drastically
Yeah.
affected this market, affected the real estate industry. When COVID first hit, and I'll never forget this, March 13th,
Mm-hmm.
my investor called me. He's like, Kim, I'm going to stop doing properties right now. I'm just going to, lay low for a little bit and see what goes on. He has not started back yet.
Yeah.
So, and this was March of last year that he stopped, and we're just sitting on properties. He has tenants that aren't paying their rent. But he's like, he built it up that long that he's able to, still sustain it.
Right.
But he's like, no, we're gonna wait and see,
Right.
how it's correct, because it's definitely going to correct itself. And I was around in 2008, the last time the market corrected itself, and I totally see all of those signs, coming back. So I'm personally preparing for the correction.
Right.
Um,
Right.
For me, because I think that's going to be a lucrative time and an opportunity for a lot of investors to really get in the market. I have a couple investors that are just sitting on properties right now that aren't even finished.
Mm-hmm.
Me included. I have one in Spartanburg that's not finished right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's I think it's definitely going to correct itself, and I think it's it's impacted it majorly. And you can start seeing even Bloomberg, the conversation start tearing to that.
Yeah.
To their real estate conversation. So I'm looking for that.
Mm-mm.
It's gonna be interesting for sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, like you have shared a wealth of knowledge here. I know you're very passionate and, said it was part of your legacy to be able to leave knowledge and instruction. Yeah. And to that vein, you have now added author to your many talents.
Yes,
right? Can you tell us about your book?
Well, we wrote a book for sure. It's it's a small book that we talk about for newbie investors. Understanding the real estate market, understanding real estate investing. My passion, as you stated, is definitely to give knowledge and not to knock anything else, but I really want to impact our African American community. That's not really the community that I've been in or been around. Most of my meetings, I'll be honest with you, are filled with, Caucasian Americans and people that want, to really see themselves grow because they're in that knowledge base and they know that that's what's beneficial. So my book started out as being a class that I taught and just honestly teaching it. And one of the ladies in the class for probably 6 years was like, Miss Kim, when you gonna finish that book? When you gonna do that book? Because I know that was a book you were teaching. She's like, so you got to come back and, teach again. And I love, as you can tell, I love talking about real estate. I can talk about it for hours on end. But Understanding the Primary Principles of Real Estate Investment is a book for newbie investors that want to see, or people that think they're interested in investing, to see and gain the knowledge to see if they really want to get into this industry. It can be lucrative. It's just like playing the stock market. It can be very lucrative, but you can lose in a minute. So that's one thing I want to make sure, that the knowledge is out there for our people, for those that are interested in learning real estate. So that's where it came from. That's how it started. It was a labor of love initially because I had the worst time with publishing, the publishing of this book, but got it done. We got it done. And it's been very successful, way more successful than I honestly saw and even envisioned. So it's available. You're welcome, to purchase it. I love to actually give you all a couple of books that you all can give away to your listeners, however you all see fit. So let us know if you find anyone or whoever you want to give them to. I'll give 2 of them away for you all. But that's my...
That happened.
That would be awesome. I have a copy of that book, and it has been awesome reading it, and I'm just soaking up the energy. So, we will definitely put the information of how you can purchase her book in our show notes. And if you're following it on YouTube, it'll be down below in our details, and also in how can they contact you?
The easiest way is through my website, KimberlyLadorce.com. You can go there and do a contact me. We have right now we're doing our sessions. I have my notes over here that my assistant wrote for me, but we're doing our sessions on there for, you can go into the work with me section and schedule a 30-minute consultation, and we'll talk about real estate and see which direction or how we can help you, guide you in the right direction from there. We do courses, we have classes, we do online teaching, webinars, all that. So you can access it at KimberlyLadorce.com.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for that. And for our D&D listeners, if you are not on our mailing list, you can go to our website, www.divasandducats.com, and to take up on Kimberly's offer. The first 5 people that sign up on that offer, we will make sure that you get a hand in that book. Not saying she's giving away 5, but whatever she gives away, then we will also make sure that the first 5 listeners get a free copy of her book. So we appreciate that so much.
That's awesome. Amazing.
All right, and listeners, we did not have time for a Dear Diva segment, but you can email us at divaadvice@gmail.com. Your question may be heard on an episode. In the meantime, you can look at our website, as Quick discussed, www.divasandducats.com. We are our Instagram and Facebook under our same name, Divas and Ducats. Subscribe, as we tell you. Subscribe below. And we will see you next time. Make sure you listen to us on Money Talk 1310.com the third Thursday of the month.
We're so excited.
This summer from 5 to 6 p.m.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there anything else for you?
No, all hearts and minds are clear. And so D&D fam, have a great attitude.
All right, bye.
Bye.